What's going on, everybody? This is Whiskey, Web, and Whatnot, your favorite podcast about Java, where we talk about enterprise apps and stuff like that. No, it's actually about Whiskey, Web, and Whatnot, and I'm your host, Robbie the Wagner. With me, as always, Charles William Carpenter III, and our guest today is, I should have asked first, but is it Argyle or Argyle?
It's like the Sox, like the Scotsman
in
Braveheart. I'm your uncle, Argyle.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I've heard Wes Boss say it wrong then.
Oh, he's very wrong over and over. I think I corrected him once, and I was like, you know what, dude? Keep it going. Just call me Argyle. It's like I got a cold call. Hi, is Mr. Argyle there? It's like, no, there's no Argyle here. Sorry, see you later.
Nice.
Speaking of Wes, when's he going to stop teasing us with like T-shirts and shit and let me buy something?
What, are they not for sale?
I feel like they're brewing up a merch store for sure.
They definitely are. It's just been in the works for a while. Anyway.
I mean, can I buy a shirt that has 8 tentacles on it?
We should make shirts. I can send you a ton of ship-shaped shirts. We don't have whiskey ones yet, but we should get some.
Yeah, we should have swag.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend enough money on this thing though. So, you know,
well,
when I get a Sentry budget, I will make a lot of merch.
Hey, Sentry sponsored me on GitHub randomly. Them and CodeCov.
Nice.
Like, it seems like they're just trying to like get free ad space on people's profiles or something. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, they just got it on this show, you know.
Well, true. True.
Well, he's coming on. We've actually paid him. We sent him some. David, yeah, he's coming on.
Yeah.
Not Wes.
Anyway.
He's been on. Okay.
Adam,
can we talk
tell
about
the folks at home who you are
No,
and what
Wes
you do.
is cooler. My name's Adam. I work at Google. I'm a crafter of web interfaces. I've been in the industry 25 years, about as long as y'all. I still remember Cold Fusion, which I still think has the coolest programming language name, Cold Fusion.
Okay.
So dope.
It is a cool name, yeah.
I mean, it's a cool. I'm not saying it's the best language in the world, but I love this stuff, dude. I soak up all of it. I'm a big JavaScript nerd. I come from typed languages, but I'm happily in loose land these days. Even though everyone else is like, "Oh, loose sucks." I want handcuffs and I want like 5 voices around me while I type that all tell me I'm doing stuff wrong. I'm like, cool. You can continue deving that way. I hate it, but anyway, and I'm at CSS Developer at Google, and I just love this stuff. Yeah.
DevRel or Dev Advocate? I mean,
yeah, what's the difference?
I don't know. Dev Advocate sounds like a preacher. You know, if I'm an advocate, it feels like I'm a preacher. If I'm a DevRel, I'm like, no, I'm relatable. I'm not at the pulpit. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. Preaching the greatness that is CSS or something of that nature. I don't know. Well, we can spend some time during this episode teaching Robbie that his joke wasn't that funny at the beginning because Java can also make the web, so it kind of is included.
Can it, though? Do you like it if you're using it? Because I don't, but anyway.
Okay, I digress. Cool. So should we talk about the whiskey?
Yeah, you should. That's your
job.
job.
I have my glass. It's empty. I always like it when you hear the cork of yours when you open it. Oh yeah, there you go. Way to go, Robbie. It's good. Oh, all right, see if I got it.
See?
Hey,
it works. I should talk about it, but I'm going to pour it first because you teed me up for that one. So we selected for you the Wild Turkey Rare Breed Barrel Proof Rye at 112.2 proof. It is not age stated, has a mash bill of 51% rye, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley, which apparently is like the mash bill for most of their rye offerings. And then there'll just be some differences of what they put the proof in the barrel, and obviously this one comes out at wherever it lands after. I think they target this proof and then whatever time it takes to get to that proof. That's what they shoot for. So it's probably like 4 to 6 years, if I had to guess.
All right. Smells delightful.
It smells like a Florida-based barbecue joint.
Huh. I was going to go a different route. I was going to say like, you know, there's like holiday cookies and there'll be like a little cinnamon, a little like sugar cookie with some cinnamon. That's what I'm getting.
You're not getting that meat in there?
Turns out, no. But I was thinking like some of the spices might give you some of the feel of
maybe
like
the dry rub of
sauce
meat or something. Like
dry rub.
It's
something like that.
Like it's a little less smoky, I think, than like a Texas barbecue, and more like Not a Memphis barbecue. It's not super sweet, but like that's why I said Florida. I don't know, just bullshit.
You mean Carolina? A little more mustard in there or something?
Carolina has that
right.
vinegar on there.
Right. Mustard or vinegar.
Yeah.
You're for someone from Virginia their entire life, your southern accent sucks.
I can't do it on the spot. I have to like warm up and go into it. I can get there.
You got to be around the other folks to sort of invoke it out of
Yeah.
you, that sort of thing. I liked the kind of spicy cookie because it is very sweet. It goes down, it hits the palate like a syrup,
Yes.
but then it finishes off as it layers over your tongue and brings the spice.
Yeah. The spice hangs for a bit, and I get more of the cinnamon and the taste. You said syrupy, and I was thinking like
nutmeg.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. In the finish, I get some like flat RC cola, kind of.
You're always specific.
RC Cola
with the
shows up
RC
in a lot of
Cola.
your
This
a
is
lot
the
of your
second
flavor
one.
palettes
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's never Dr.
Not
Pepper.
Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
but RC Cola.
RC
Yeah.
Cola. RC Cola to me always was like a sweeter, like more syrup forward cola.
A little flatter, right?
but yeah, and a little flatter, but not like Pepsi. It always had like more sweetness than Pepsi for me, because like Pepsi, it feels a little just like flat Coke in a way, and then RC just sort of had its own thing going on there. So I have to differentiate for at least my own palate.
And I hear a preference there then for Coca-Cola over Pepsi. There's your spicy first question, or what do they call it again? It's a
Hot takes.
A hot take, dude.
Yeah.
So your hot take, what's better, Pepsi or Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola, 100%.
Oh yeah, same.
all the way.
Wrong answer.
Ride or die.
All right. Well, that's all the time we
guy.
have.
Coca-Cola always coated my teeth with sweaters. I'd always know. I'd be like, take a swig of it and be like, oh, well, my teeth are covered in a sweater. That must be Coca-Cola.
You mean like the sugar
Well,
residue?
you know that this episode is brought to you by Diet Coke.
Yeah, Coke Zero. So I can't drink anything with sugar in it because my teeth are trash and it all hurts really bad. So I have to do a diet soda. So I don't have that problem of the
interesting.
coatings.
Getting old sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what I hear. All right. So we should circle back to the whiskey before we go into hot takes. Like, I'm not sure I trust your rating now that your flavor preferences are so far askew of mine, but let's give it a shot anyway. For our listener, I know I repeat it for you every single time. It's a highly intense scale of 0 to 8 tentacles, 0 being terrible, never give that to me again, 4 being like, this isn't bad. It's not great, it's not bad. And 8 being like, amazing, clear the shelves.
I'm thinking a 6.5. It's delightful. It's smooth. It's strong. It's specifically that flavor palette that I want if I'm reaching for this. But I can't give it an 8 tentacles because that would mean that somehow it knocked me on my ass and I'm laying down going, my God, it's beautiful. And I'm not doing that, So
No.
it's delightful though.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I'm kind of I think I'm more at like a 5. It's above average for me. I like Wild Turkey products across the board. The Russell's Reserve line, whether they're rye or bourbons, seems to really yeah, there you go. Seems to really kind of do it for me most times. I like their regular Rye 101, and this is slightly better than that. This has got that sweetness that I'm not catching, and I like the even higher proof than 101. But so I'm probably at a 5. I'm gonna say it's a 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna split the difference and say 5.75. There's definitely ryes I like more than this one, but this one's definitely not bad. Like, given the choice, I would choose this one over many lesser choices. So I'll just say,
Yeah, and it's $55, $60 in that range. I don't know, depends on where you get it, I'm sure. And the 101 is usually 35 or so, and so I can see the quality improvement here.
I got to say, thank you. This is very generous and kind of y'all to be mailing out booze. That's cool. Thank you.
it's really
I
just
just asked
about
my
getting
kids
Chuck
to
arrested. We're working on that.
Well, as long as I don't send it USPS, it's not a federal offense, by the way. It is just against rules. And I have been in some shippers, not jail, literal, but had my account suspended trying to send. Speaking of Wes, actually, I was trying to send booze to Wes in Canada.
Blame Canada. Wasn't that a South Park episode?
Exactly. And they'll accept it and they'll say they're sorry. But basically I tried to send it as like collectibles and merchandising or something like that. So, you know, it didn't spread.
He's not going to open it. He's just going to put it on the shelf. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. He loves the sticker or whatever. And it quote unquote broke. So they knew it was whiskey and, you know, contacted me about it and stuff. So I was just like, oh,
Would
you
they have
can't?
Ace Ventura deliver it? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, you can't do that? Oh, totally sorry. It's just a promotional thing. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I
we're not
wonder if-
selling it, which is true.
How could they prove that you put it in there, though, right? Like, someone else could have opened it and put it in there after you shipped your collectibles.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they drank it all, spilled a little inside, and said it was broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of true because they print the labels at the office. It's not like I go to the store and like have them pack it or even just have them do anything. I just, yeah. I don't know. Good story there. But yeah, maybe if I end up in jail for that, which I don't think is going to happen. Also, this one, I think we've gotten smarter lately, though.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we just find online retailers, and then they have the licenses. They can ship you stuff, so it's not a big deal. Anyway,
Sponsored by
my,
the Wine
my
Spot.
lips are feeling the wild turkey. Oh wait, should we explain why it's a turkey too? Because the infamous episode that y'all were in.
Well, that can bring us to
of Feud.
our first hot take is, should we have won Front End Feud?
yeah, I felt like there were a couple of questions where you were led to the right answer, or there was some subjective decisions around like, no, Robbie, that's wrong, goes to you, and then here's a hint.
Well,
I feel like that happened a couple of times.
A rematch, huh? Is that sort of the request here? Is a rematch with a better judge? You hear that? Okay, well, I'll let him know. All right.
Yeah.
well, I think like it's luck of the draw too, because like that whole like question around screen sizes was kind of bullshit, because it's like, oh, what are these like
The whole thing's kind of
ranges?
bullshit. I mean, these are like not real things. These are, and they're sourced from like 20 schmucks. You're like, the 20 people that submitted it. You're like, I don't know who they are. And now we're trying to answer like we're them.
Right.
And they're
So are you
always saying
currently
none.
still the champion, or did anybody knock you out? Yeah.
We have not been knocked out yet. We're sort of stumbling through successes. I mean, as you saw, it's not like we're like clear winners here. We just sort of, at the end, like when we went off against Shop Talk Show, Chris and Dave, I remember it came down to like one question. It was like, they either get this or they don't, and then we steal it and we take it and win it. And they choked, you know? It's just like, well, that fell in our laps. We're not really reigning champs here, but we did. We have more points. I'll take it.
Somebody's got to win.
Yeah,
That's really
that's
what
true.
it comes down to. That's the nature of the feud.
Yeah. But anyway, that was their third win there. So it was a turkey. Was the
turkey. Yeah.
the reasoning
And
behind
so
this.
made it appropriate. I like Wild Turkey. I've always been kind of a fan of most of their stuff.
Do you like Garth Brooks?
I'm fine with him. I
In what
guess.
way? As a friend?
Yeah, like he hasn't texted me back in a while, so I might be upset with him, but in general, I'm fine with him. Garth Brooks always reminds me of high school. My high school was like a serious heyday for him, and at least one prom had like the dance as the theme or something, some bullshit like that. So I was very sick of Garth in the 90s. And I think over time, can appreciate the musicianship and all of that. He was funny on SNL. Remember when he like became that rocker guy, Chris something, for a minute? He like took on a different
He
persona.
did the emo thing. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was like a straight flat bangs, black hair, emo dude. Yeah, that was something.
Yeah. He looked like Robbie Wagner back in the day.
Yeah. Robbie Core.
Yeah, Robbie Core. And he was on SNL. It was kind of funny, but I don't know. Why do you ask? I guess that's
So Wild Turkey, he's got that song Wild Horses on the album No Fences, and I bought the record just like because you can't find his music anymore. He's like isn't
really.
on Spotify, whatever.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
none of it. I think actually a weird first album, some live random ass first album. Just hit the thing. Anyway, so he's got that song Wild Horses, and I hear Wild Turkey, and I just start singing the song. Wild Turkey keeps dragging me away.
The
And
Rolling
anyway.
Stones, and I think even the Rolling Stones, it might have been a cover. It's a famous Rolling Stones song, and then someone did it.
Wild Horses is a cover?
Yeah, If it's couldn't drag me away, wild horses couldn't drag me away.
And I'll lose
Wow,
more
why
than
couldn't
I'm
that,
gonna win someday. Is that the song? Really? Oh shit! I'm gonna have to go look it up. Dang it!
Ooh, now that line doesn't. Maybe he's taken some liberties, but there's definitely a very famous Rolling Stones song, and I want to say in the '90s, there's a female who covered it. I don't know who, but it was
Shakira?
kind of like a
No,
in the '90s. I know you weren't born yet, Robbie.
Shakira
but
was in maybe that was early 2000s. I don't know.
It is early 2000s. Yeah.
Right. I was just the first person that popped into my head.
Well, the person that popped in my head was like Sinead O'Connor, but like, no, that's also not correct. It's like someone like that. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm like embarrassed that I didn't know that was not an original. That's like if somebody brought you up or like, hey, let's do this as parents. Just promise me right now on this show that you'll do this as a parent. You're going to teach your kid that Weird Al wrote all the originals. That way, when they go to a party and they hear Beat It, they're going to be like, who ripped off Weird Al? This version stinks. You know, and it's going to be like, dude, this is Michael Jackson. They're going to be like, psh, what a rip-off loser. And then they're going to be like, no, he wrote the original, and be like, Dad, rah, shakes his fist at you.
I love that. I've always thought of like
that would be pretty great.
told Caitlin it would be fun if you just like teach Finn like 3 things wrong. Like you commit to everything, but then you're just like, you know, this pizza is
What are
called
we
a
gonna lean in?
cheeseburger or something, and then like just watch what happens later in life. Like, but we're not doing that. I just thought it would be fun.
Parental trolling is I approve it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you want a hot take, depending upon whether you are a spiritual person or not. You potentially could be teaching your child to talk to an imaginary friend. So, you know. Ooh, spicy hot. I said potentially whatever else.
Hey, nobody knows.
It's good. I'm not spiritual. Oh, actually, I was born and raised Mormon, and I got better.
You recovered. Nice. Where did you where did you grow up?
Pacific Northwest in Seattle, which has a surprisingly strong, and then I do have family in Utah. But Utah is no longer dominated by the Mormons. Did you know this? Even though they still dominate the booze laws, they do not dominate the majority.
That's interesting. Like, yeah, essentially they're very concentrated in like Salt Lake and Provo, right? That kind of something like that.
They were worldwide. I
mean, they're still
members
worldwide.
everywhere.
Yeah, we actually have used to at least a pretty large community in Mesa, Arizona. When I lived in Tempe,
That's where my brother did his mission.
Nice. I was gonna say when I lived in Tempe,
Or somewhere near there.
we used to get them knocking on our door. Sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to have this conversation. But good luck to you riding around on your bike in the summer in Arizona.
Yeah, cheers, you 18-year-old naive person. That's great.
Yeah.
Is it 18 or is it 21? I can't remember.
For the mission, I think it's 18 actually. Yeah.
Is it 18? Yeah, I blocked it all out.
That's fair. Makes sense.
I didn't do one. I was the prodigal child. They were like, the oldest didn't go. He's probably in LA doing cocaine like that movie we saw.
Weren't you?
I should have been. That would have been a cooler story than I sold shoes in LA. I was just a shoe salesman. I rode to work. I dressed full suit, really nice shoes, probably like $300 shoes because I got some free ones from work or whatever. And I was so poor. I rode a Razor scooter to work in my suit and then just like hopped off it and walked on the sales floor. It was like, I'm here. I'm an emo kid in a suit on a Razor.
Yeah.
I'll sell you some Ferragamos. Let's go.
Whoa. You sold the fancy shoes though. So
Oh man, it's
if
LA.
you were any good at that though, you might, yeah. If you're any good at it though, you might not be here today. So
it actually, in my opinion, it directly correlates with why I'm here. I'm not just a engineer. I'm an engineer that can talk to people and I can sell because I have a lot of sales history. And it turns out being able to sell stuff is good, whether you're a designer, a developer, a manager, a PM, a CEO, an exec. Everybody is pitching and selling. And you either know how to do it or you don't. You either look like a wiener when you do it, or you look like a tough cookie, like a rock that you can't budge. And they're like, just listen to the rock, man.
You look like a wiener, like a guy in a beanie inside his house.
Hey, I was wearing a normal like baseball cap, but that puts like a shadow over my face. So I switched before because I didn't have time to shower because my day has been shit, and we're not going to go into that. But We should go into,
There's no school today for my kids. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Your segue. You're very good at this.
is
Yeah,
CSS
it
a
is.
programming language?
No. Dude, what kind of idiot thinks that writing text into a file that runs with something is a programming language?
Yeah.
I don't care who, no, the answer is
Yeah,
of course it is.
It's the same as
Machine-
people that think HTML is a programming language. What fucking morons! Like, there is no
Dude,
way you can.
my mom can make it. Yeah.
Anything I argue that any text parsed by a machine is potentially giving machine instructions.
Yeah.
Which HTML does. It does give machines instructions. And
Counter
CSS.
question for you: is sheet music coding? Is that a programming language? Are you programming humans by putting notes on the lines? Are the humans the machine, but you're actually still authoring, reading, or writing code with sheet music?
I think it's adjacent.
If that's
I don't know that.
yeah,
it's,
maybe adjacent.
Yeah.
Because under that same logic, like essentially a story is programmed
Yeah.
then because
Any instructions written down for something or someone.
why
to
only
execute.
written too, I guess. Now we're going to go outside of text and, am I being programmed in ways when I take in media or, watch a movie, watch a show,
Oh, yeah.
play a game potentially because there's trying to evoke emotion and response and thought and all those things.
Here's my hot take about CSS: is it's the only web language that delivers types and enforces them at runtime.
Ooh.
It's a typed language that you don't just throw it away when you compile it. TypeScript. You're like, I'm going to write in a typed language that then I take everything that I did and I leave it at the door before I give it to everyone. You're like, that sounds genius. Great idea. Temporary type safety. That's a great feature.
It's type safety for the humans, not for the machines.
At dev time, yeah. So it's like
Yeah, dev
to
time.
make sure
At
you're
dev
doing the right stuff, not to make sure that your program is doing the right stuff.
I like this irony that the native languages all were typed out the box, right? You got your Objective-C, you got your Java, right? So typed languages, and they're looking at us on the web, and they're jelly. They're jelly of us writing JS. So they go and make Swift and Kotlin, inferred typed languages, very loose looking, omitting semicolons, all sorts of the cruft and the dumb shit, because that's the smart choice. The smart choices make it smaller, easier to read. Anyway, it gets really verbose. And so then what did we do on the web? We said, we want what we don't have also. So we too we'll make a typed language and we're going to act like ours is. And I'm just like, look at the world that we live in. This is so funny. The way that we all can't be happy with
never.
our own dev environments.
No, because front-end engineers got shit on as being like UI peons for so long. And now as a community, it has been flipped on its head. And now it's like so super complex. And yeah, I would say under that like same ideology, why does an MVC framework come to the client? Well, because fuck off,
you can.
back end guys. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let me show you.
Well, we have to show them how big we are in the front end. We can do it too. Here, watch me. What was the first MVC frameworks you used, or like, but what was just before Prototype? Remember Prototype JS? That's when like hardcore backend people came into the front end and they're like, we're gonna structure up this shit for you and your stupid little kid language. And I was like, you just made a big file with lots of words that does the same thing as like my single stupid function. Like what?
Yeah, I do
Lame.
think like
Yeah.
there was a time and place for it. Like we do a lot of crazy shit now for like, I spent 8 years building this thing that optimizes everything to go 20 milliseconds faster. Like, can anyone fucking tell? Like, it doesn't matter. Like before
your
it mattered because
AWS
like
bills can tell.
the only DOM API was like nothing. So it was like, oh, well, we kind of need jQuery and
That's true.
stuff.
You need a jQuery
yeah.
bad, yeah. Get
Yeah,
elements
yeah.
by tag name was whack as hell, especially when you didn't even have good reducers and filters. Like we didn't have oh man, it was crappy. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see why tooling had to get better and the hardware side of like offloading things, computing power to clients to a degree, obviously. The easy argument is always like jQuery spaghetti or Backbone or whatever it was, that you embraced at that time. What felt like a good leap, but it's just continued to spiral. And that's
Whatever
what I
code
enjoy.
I didn't write is spaghetti. That's what it sounds like to people. It's like, I
wow.
never create spaghetti, but I read yours and it was spaghetti. You're like, what a
You just don't
butthole.
understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't understand. No, I created a lot of shitty code, I'm sure, all over the place. Get the job done sometimes. So maybe
Yeah,
I just
sometimes
wasn't
you
that
have to.
smart. It's hard to say. Yeah. I didn't invent
I mean,
any
we
of
all
these
learned on the
things.
job for a while, you know? It's
Yeah.
nice. It was nice. You got a client that's like, we want X. You're like, shh, don't tell him I've never done that before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll figure it out, and then we'll secretly make it look like we're hella pro at the end.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, this was amazing. I know.
Yeah.
You didn't see the other 14 iterations we went through, but yeah, here it is. I don't know
So,
why it took 6 months.
I'm going to
longer.
bounce around because that kind of
'Cause that's
goes
what you
into
do.
a topic I had on here. I'm curious about the secret CSS features. What's the biggest bang for my buck? My boss is like, oh, I need, this to really blow people away in a demo, and you have like a week to do it. Not necessarily the fanciest stuff, but like what's the best, easiest way to be like, cool animations, or like, I know the view transition stuff is cool these days or whatever, but like, what's your recommendation to make things flashy real quick?
All right, I got an answer. I even have a talk I gave a while ago. The pitch was a prototype speaks 1,000 comps, 1,000 design comps. If you make a prototype, you can create this illusion. So you can create a PWA that installs to the home screen, which means you get the app icon on the home screen. You tap it, it goes full screen. It looks exactly. And as long as you make it fast enough, you could even go Jamstack. The link clicks can load a page so fast that they won't even know that it wasn't. Anyway, so you can create this illusion with a PWA that can make you could go land $3 million in seed money by making a really badass fucking PWA. But the short answer is, hell's yeah, it's view transitions, dude. That shit is amazing. You sprinkle, it's one of the most magical fairy dust things you can sprinkle on your website is view transitions. You're like, oh, I'll just give this shit a name and then call an asynchronous function right before I mod the DOM. And then, oh my God, morphing. And it's like off the main thread. And then you can customize it. Oh shit, dude, that is some really fun stuff. But also, if you have extra time, if you've got an extra day, you want to stay up late and have half a bottle of some wild turkey, go add scroll-driven animations, and the new spec is very cool. I mean, you don't have to write an intersection observer anymore. It automatically knows when it's entering the viewport and exiting by how much. You have words that articulate when you want it to begin and end. You can link to the entirety of the scroll or a portion of your own intersection with the scroll port. That shit is amazing. So both those combined together, you can blow someone away. It looks like you're building a native app. And then if you want to do the PWA thing, you're in $6 million seed territory now. You're really knocking the socks off the fool that's like, oh my God, you did this in a week. The only bummer is, don't tell them you did it in a week, because those tools are going to ask you to just do one more week and finish it. And you're like, oh, it's a prototype. It was an illusion. And they're going to be like, oh, so how much is the reality? And you're like,
Years.
oh, years. Yeah, the reality is kind of far away. I mean, didn't you see I was logged in as fucking Rambo? Come on, Rambo doesn't use this app. Anyway, I was. Yeah.
John Rambo doesn't even need technology. I mean, come on. He's living up there in the mountains, defending himself. What was that, in an abandoned mine or something? Anyway, so
He's cool. I want to be him.
First Blood was legit. Like, it got so campy by like Rambo 3 though. And they were just selling toys, and it was just super weird. And it's also like, why are you selling toys of this like jacked up steroid man with like a, like aircraft
jacked up steroid man?
I challenge you to go look up those action figures and compare
maybe
them,
not seen
because
those
G.I.
specific
Joe,
ones.
especially like initially, had proportions that were a little more realistic. As much as, shooting lasers at each other and no one ever dies can be realistic. But
Okay, I just looked it up, and this is pretty ridiculous.
the Rambo toys, yeah. I remember the Rambo toys. I mean, they were
Roid man.
they're as bad as the Masters of the Universe. Like, I don't know if you ever had any of those original toys.
Wait, isn't his name Adam?
Yeah, Adam Grayskull.
Yeah.
And Cringer, who became Battle Cat and He-Man, of course.
I'm getting massive whiffs of caramel off my cup right now.
Ooh,
Caramel-
as it opens up, yeah.
Oh man, it's dessert. It smells like Christmas. Oh my
Are you
gosh.
sure it's not caramel color number 43?
Yeah, that's how they make it brown. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's nothing to do with barrels
that
in
is
wood. No, I know. They don't have to list the ingredients. What are the FDA enforcements? Because there's no nutritional value here. I think it's 0 calories, though. I have found that it has nothing to do with, like, I could drink a half bottle of this. It's not that. It's the chips and cookies that I eat later.
Well,
but
it's a slippery slope because it makes you want more chips and cookies, and
I know
it has more calories than you think. So like, and it deteriorates muscle. So if you lift it, it's like doesn't matter what you did today. Like,
yeah.
but
it's
great though.
The brown fat it adds underneath or around your organs and all of that stuff.
Oh, does it do
and
that?
Then
you get a fatty liver from it.
Right. It's approximately 160 calories per serving, which is like 2 ounces or 1.5 to 2 ounces.
I guess I'm not having dinner.
I think maybe it's just 60. Actually, because liquors are better calorically than like wine and beer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best though is like the high noons that are just like vodka and like no other calories. Like
and like a essence of juice or something.
Yeah. Anyway,
so we're taking this down.
It was a whisper of juice.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a little strawberry on there.
Slightly more than liqueur, but still, more about like thinking about a grapefruit while I poured this into my mouth.
I want to talk about milk.
Oh, okay. We took that off the hot take, so we would love to hear your take on milk. Well, we had the primage, and his episode will be a few away from now. I don't know. I don't even know. But he was like, yeah, I won milk. I did the jet skiing or the water skiing with the milk, and then like there was all those posts about like only white supremacists drink milk from the bottle or something,
which is so weird.
Like he was like, it got kind of canceled, so we took it off. But anyway, tell us about milk. We don't care if we're canceled or not. So
I mean, tell us about your racism. I mean, milk.
Dang, I have so here. Okay, I've been listening to y'all's show. Good show. I love all the 3 parts. Whiskey Web went on it. So it's good. But the milk question keeps coming up. I have no idea. I'm like completely naive. I don't know anything about the origins. You know, y'all are like, it had a thing on Twitter. And I'm like, I believe you, but I have no idea what it was. For me, I'm going based off of the Portlandia episode. Have you seen the Portlandia about milk?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man, it's so funny. They basically make milk out of all sorts of shit that shouldn't be making milk. And then they like try to
That's
sip
real
it.
life
It's
now.
absolutely disgusting. That's real life. Okay, so here's my stance on it. Here's my spicy take is if it's just because it's white and creamy-ish or whatever doesn't make it milk. It needs to come from a mammal, damn it. If it doesn't come from a mammal, don't call it milk. Call it white juice. If you made it with almonds or some other fucking nut, I don't care. It's not milk. Stop selling me milk.
Honestly,
like it's milk.
I think if you called it almond white juice, a lot of people would buy it.
Would still buy it. Yeah, milk alternative is a better like label of things. This came up sometime recently, and I have much the same feelings as you. I've made almond milk before, and all that is like crushing it down and letting it sit in water for a while, so it just absorbs some of that flavor. That's
more
not
like
milky.
tea.
There's no nipples.
I'll
on
do that
tea.
with paper, you know?
Yeah,
Want
exactly.
some white and paper pulp in there? I'll make you some paper milk. There you go. It's creamy white juice for you. We'll just call it milk. Maybe that's what I'll do is I'll start a whole campaign making things that look like milk, but that everyone goes, well, no, that one's not milk. And I go, what's the difference between your stupid almond milk and this papier milk?
Papier.
You know, I'll make it French sounding. Papier. It's papier milk. What do they call it? Lech. Crap. It's like Spanish, but it has its own. Anyway, I took French.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah,
But water is right, and so EAU is water, or whatever. Milk. What was milk? It's not leche.
The cow was chèvre, right? Cow was chèvre.
Oh, that's actually goat.
This is
chèvre.
That's goat. Oh yeah, chèvre cheese. Yeah, of course.
I was just there
Anyway.
a couple weeks ago, so it should be more
Whoa.
top of mind. But I did not order any.
You never got
milk.
any milk.
Did you get the
in
special
anything?
Pokemon from there?
No, I just
The
get
Klefkis?
espresso. So, what? No, I did not get any special
Yeah,
Pokemon.
no, Pokemon's not cool. I didn't mention Pokemon. You did.
Okay, I'm upset that
kids
it's
love
not
it.
still cool because like Pokemon Go being a big thing was so cool for me for like 2 months when it was cool, and then I was like, okay, well I can't play anymore.
Get on Monster Hunter now.
Just wait
Dude,
till
they
you-
just came out with a new game. It's super rad. Capcom, Niantic, it's the same thing. You walk around, there's like a dragon a block away right now, and I'll be like, oh man, I'm getting up. I'm going to go defeat that fucking dragon. And the sword fighting is super cool. It's like really modern, new age
What is
graphics
this?
in there.
Is this on your phone or something?
Yeah.
It's on your phone. Yeah, it's like Pokemon Go, except you're a monster hunter. So you're not just like flinging a Pokeball at some little fucking Squirtle. You're like taking a big ass electric hammer and slamming it on top of a Rathos. And anyway, I do have a code you can put in when you join. That's be like, oh yeah, this guy gave me the thing. And
you want to read it out? Maybe
really
someone
cool.
will use it when they join listening to this.
Oh shit! Actually, I could. That'd be funny.
My kid's like,
The game is really cool though. Monster Hunter Now is the name.
There's no way my wife is gonna let him have a phone yet and then go out and fight dragons with it. We have enough battles over games in the house right now, so
it is a family game. Oh, by the way, speaking of games, I raised my kids on retro games first. So Galaga, Pac-Man, Millipede, Donkey Kong, and it's been really fun. And then since I have emulators set up, I've actually beat some of the old school games. Like I beat Super Mario 3. Holy shit!
Yeah, we have that at our house too. We have I forget what it's called, but it runs like we have like 30,000 games actually. My brother,
I want to say,
yeah, like not Retro Box or something like that. I can't remember.
You mentioned it in
called,
several episodes.
There's a few of them these days. Yeah.
My brother actually
Refer
just
to
imaged
episode
it on
55.
like some
No.
right, exactly, on some old Dell like workstation, and kind of same thing. And you can go from everywhere, like Atari 2600, Commodore, all the way up to like Nintendo 64. Like,
so I went.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with these. I've got a PC all dedicated to it. There's some really cool modern. Like, have you heard of Hyperspin?
Mm-mm.
Holy shit! It's got the whole like. Okay, so let's say you're like standing in front of a cabinet, and it sounds like Capcom. You know, it's like ting 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 ting. Things are swirling all over. So as you like select a game, which is also like scroll snap. I think you could build this with CSS scroll snap just to like type back. Anyway, so it scroll snaps in as soon as it lands as the selected item, and it's the snap target. Which, by the way, this is CSS spec I'm working on. Snap target. You can then trigger loading the preview of the game. So it loads a preview of the game. All sorts of album art shows up, and then of course you can launch the game. So it's this phenomenally powerful video enhanced launcher for your emulators. So it's a front end. They call it a front end for all the emulators.
Oh, that's cool.
It's called Hyperspin. It is the coolest of all of them. It's also simultaneously the hardest one to set up. It's so fucking picky. I have my referral code. I'm going to share it before.
Yeah, go
I
for
forget.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready, everybody? If you're playing Monster Hunter Now, type in as your refer 6HPR 6W 8W, and you won't regret it. The game is actually like totally. It's the coolest mobile game I've played in like 4 years. I honestly was playing Pokemon Go until I downloaded this. I've been playing Pokemon Go for like years. I travel.
There's no shame.
And it's really fun. I'll be like,
I used to go like, so this has been a while. I guess when it was like first out, I would take my lunch break from work, drive, get lunch, park next to a Pokestop and play for a while, and then go back to work, eat lunch after that. Like, so I would basically have like two lunch breaks, just so I could play more. But doesn't matter. I don't work for them anymore.
Are they in business?
It's RSA, so I hope so.
Oh yeah, they're doing fine. They didn't miss that extra few hours a week, so I think it's totally good. All right, I don't even know where we're at anymore.
We've been bouncing way around.
hit me a hot take. Let's do it. I love
Tailwind
y'all's
or
list of hot
vanilla
takes.
CSS.
Vanilla CSS. But okay, so here I'm so excited for this question because I hear it all the time in y'all's show. I get the question a lot, and I recently had a friend needed a deck to get built. And I like this metaphor of a deck getting built because usually I think about like a house is as complicated as building a website because you have to register the address with the city. You have to get water and electricity into it. It's like these external resources that you're piping out and back into the house. And then you have to feed the water through up into the bathroom, right? And then you got your UX engineer that's like making sure that the handle is nice and easy to twist and that you have the aerator. You got to have the aerator at the end of the spout or else it just fucking leaks out instead of shoots out in a nice cylinder. Anyway, right? That's like a UX engineer's job. And then you have your back end job, which is to get the water to the room or whatever. But the deck was a really cool one because basically he had a bunch of people show up to give him quotes. And there were clearly two different types of people offering the job. One was an installer, and the other one was a craftsperson that would build you a deck. So one person wanted to install a deck, and the other person wanted to build you a deck. And this is a really interesting thing that we are in the same spot right now, where people generally they ask you to install some shit. Like your boss is usually asking, I heard some shit is really good, and I'd like you to install it. You know, and you're like, all right, I'll install that or whatever. Or a client comes to you and they're like, I got X dollars, install me an app. And you're just like, Dad, that's the stupidest way to ask me for work, but whatever. Then you have your crafter. Your crafter is like, oh, I'll take your request and I will uniquely build you something and it will fulfill your needs for 50 years. Versus the installer, which will do it cheaper and faster, but you're going to get fucking sick of it because they did something cheap. They cut a corner somewhere. No shade on either of these strategies. These are both valid things that need to get done. Sometimes decks need installed. Sometimes you need a crafted deck. And sometimes there's something in the middle where you install most of the deck and then you craft the railings or some shit or whatever, right? Okay. All this is to say, Tailwind is for installers. Vanilla CSS is for crafters. Neither of these people are wrong in their industry or wrong in the way that they're doing things, but it is drastically two different sides to get the task done. And it's a mentality thing. When you want to craft something, you want to hold each of the pieces and you want control over the niche because you're going to have opinions. When you install, you give the opinions to the thing that you bought. And you trust it's going to give you things you didn't even think you knew until later you realize you didn't want them. Anyway, that's the thing. You're like, I'm going to take this theme. I'm going to install this theme. This will really make me faster at getting this site done. Then you get the theme. You're like, God damn it, I'm fighting it for days just trying to get this one little tweak. Shit. So anyway, Tailwind is great. You can integrate it with OpenProps, my little library with just values. I think the workflow of Tailwind is phenomenal. The copy and paste ability for installers. If you're an installer, all you want to do is copy paste, man. And Tailwind has your back. That is the number one place for copy paste. Everything lives on the HTML. You take it, you steal it, you go somewhere else, you paste it, and you're done. If you don't care, that's a great way to get things done. But if you do, and once you need to go off the rails, once you need to do container queries and you have to learn really weird microsyntax, that's when things start to get weird and you wished that you'd gone vanilla CSS in some sort of hybrid model along the way.
That's I think the hottest take on that particular question thus far. And I think Dax would be proud of you by not saying it depends.
Yeah, it depends is the answer.
Right.
Do you want something installed? So it's like this guy. This guy didn't want a deck installed because the installers wanted to give him certain types of boards that didn't wear and tear over time, but don't look like wood.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to walk around on your weird plastic shit.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, well, but it lasts 50 years. And he's like, I don't care. And he's like, I want to paint my deck. They're like, oh, if you paint this stuff, it voids the warranty. And he's like, what the? And so he's like, I guess I can't get a deck installed because every installer is going to give me this particle plastic board that I can't paint. I want to paint my deck. So he had to get a crafter for this one weird thing. So anyway, that's a good analogy, I thought.
I think it's a good analogy. I think it's an interesting take. Robbie, do you have any knee-jerk reactions to that in any ways? Like thinking...
No, I mean, I'm a bit on maybe the other side of saying Tailwind has solved CSS for all of us forever. But I agree that some of the more complex and newer things, like it takes a while for it to get abstracted into Tailwind land. And like then some of it, how does it even work, right? Like some things can't work in Tailwind. And I don't think you're wrong if you use both either, because you can use, I think having the quickness of being like, I just want to throw like a 5-pixel padding on this and just use a utility class. Like, I love that. But then if you need to do something more complex, there's no shame in also just opening a real CSS file and writing some shit. Like, it's whatever you're more productive in. But I think most people that hate on Tailwind haven't tried it is the big thing. Is like, I think there's a lot of benefits to using it, and it makes you a lot faster for like the base case.
It's such a good workflow because so many people spend so much time in their component JavaScript file.
Yep.
And having access and just staying there in your JSX or in your templating framework and just sprinkling in these classes and never having to even go to CSS. That's a great workflow. I can't challenge that with vanilla CSS. It doesn't have that. Vanilla CSS does have the back and forth. You either have to use CSS nesting and tie your styles directly to your DOM structure, which we all know has its trade-offs, or you put your own custom class names on everything. Oh my God, can I share with you like one of my, it's a hot take.
Yeah, I might
do it.
I tweeted it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm just like, it's so funny. People are like, I love Tailwind because I don't have to name anything. I'm like, all you fucking do is name shit, dork. You name your functions in JavaScript. You name your variables in JavaScript. You name your rows. You named your columns. You name everything. And
Well-
for you to sit here and tell me to my face that like naming classes is somehow the one thing that just really grinds your gears, I'm like, man, you need to look around at all the other shit you named today.
I do
and get off
agree
this,
with
like,
that,
weird little
though.
thing.
Like, maybe not to that extent, but like when you have, say, let's say 3 nested divs, okay? And you're like, the outer one is like the container, and then the next one is like the whatever, and the middle one is like, what the fuck are those things? Like, not having to care and just throwing utility classes
know.
on is nice.
Them wasn't that hard.
but
Come
it's
on.
yeah. But also, if you don't care
I
what the
didn't love
name
them.
is,
Yeah.
just name it whatever. Be like 1, 2, 3, done.
Let's just admit then what it is you're struggling to come up with verbiage because you don't come
Yes.
from a design background. And so you're looking at a problem that's fucking foreign to you. And so to you reject it as bullshit. When the reality is like everyone else is happy. If they're in design land, they know the names of these things. They named them. It's to them, it's fine.
Yeah, so
It's
they should
just
have told me the
you're
names.
comfortable naming JavaScript stuff. You're comfortable naming everything but design related things. And so it's like, I think a lot of people just have this, they just reject designy things and they like, this doesn't get me further in my career, right? This is kind of why I like that Chuck is always constantly like saying like the front end is like a valuable skill. Like we need front end developers because they're doing a lot of the work that the JavaScript engineers that are all hardcore mode, quote unquote, or whatever, don't want to do. And that doesn't make them better or worse. Like this is a team effort. What I love about building a house and the analogy of building a house is no one shits on each other in the role that they play. The electric engineers and the plumbers and the interior decorators and the people doing the stairs and how they feel, like they all respect each other's roles. We don't do that on the front end. It's weird.
Yeah.
For some reason, we like have stepped ladders. And so it's like, it's okay if like it's hard for you to come up with a name for the middle container. And I don't expect you to, but it's just, to me, it's weird in retrospect. If you step back and you're like, dude, how many things did you name today? And you're like, I named a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But that
And
one
if
was the hardest one to name.
yeah.
And people like to
Anyway.
go complain in public about it, right? Because they can't complain in the job. That's not like an acceptable forum to be like, I don't want to name all these stupid CSS things. Hey, designer folks, come name these things for me or something like that, right? They don't feel like that is an acceptable path. They have a little frustration. Let me go over to this platform where people bitch and moan and then bitch and moan about something that doesn't matter.
You're also not wrong, Robbie, dude. It's totally fine to not like naming classes. I just liked,
No,
one
yeah.
day I was like sitting down and I realized for myself, I had sat there and I named the columns in my database. I named all the functions to get it. I was naming all the backend routes. I was creating 6 naming structures and then like just to get some data. And then I was like, oh my God. And then I was trying to name a class and I was like, what do I name this? And I'm like, look at me. I was like, this.
I
hey,
think
this
you're
is
right.
funny.
Look,
that-
look at you humble bragging that in the same day, by the way, you were naming database columns and CSS classes.
yeah. Full
in
stack.
Cold Fusion though,
Yeah.
no, just kidding.
It is the coolest name. It is the worst language I've ever worked in. But maybe that was a product of that particular company and time or something. But
Yeah.
I don't understand why it exists.
But I do think you're right that like it's a separate skill. Designing and UX is different than like the technical side. If your designer doesn't name all their layers and stuff in the design and you're like, I don't know what this box is, you're like boxy thing, you know? So unless you're like interfacing with them daily and like really talking about why are we doing this and how is it helping users to have these 4 boxes or whatever, then
Do
you have no idea.
care? And also
Yeah.
a lot of people don't care because it's not benefiting their role. Like I had to fight so hard for the roles that people that didn't want to write JavaScript at many companies that I worked at where I was leading. And I was like, no, you can't just promote into JS. You can't, because you're going to take the people that do the complementary work for them and squish them into that role just so that they can make more money. And I'm like, it's not fair. We need both roles. The person that made the calendar widget beautiful and gorgeous and accessible is not the same person that made the data ready for the calendar widget. And if you think that somehow one is better, you're supporting the poor choices that we've already been making in this industry at our company. And like our company needs to be the place where we can feel safe that these are roles that we all, geez. And dude, I never won.
Well,
It was so tough. It was super brutal.
of course, because like companies don't understand the ROI of that until maybe they get sued or something. Because I think you touched on a very important point there, which is it takes a lot of knowledge and care and work to make sure that you're providing an accessible web. I don't have anywhere near the appropriate understanding of accessibility, right? Because I know that it takes dedication and time. It takes an individual that is valued in a role like that to do it and to work for it and to implement processes and everything else into companies to make it a reality. That's probably why the ROI for companies hasn't been there, because they haven't been sued enough or something, because it's easily dismissed. And even if it gets implemented initially, you can see it get chipped away at too over time.
Yeah, there's a guy I know that was coming into web who'd been writing apps for a long time in various old school languages, new school languages, whatever. Anyway, he's writing web for the first time, and he's been doing it for about a year. And he very honestly, and I love this take, he goes, of all the languages I've ever written, HTML is the hardest. And he goes, it's not because it's hard to fucking write. It's because it's hard to be considerate and appropriate given the edge cases and the needs of all of the consumers of this. In fact, I want to follow this up with a hot take also, that the front end is the hardest job. And here's why, is if you're a back-end developer, you have one consumer. Well, you have like developers that are consuming like your API, they're using it, but you have one runtime to worry about. You have Node. And you have it locked at a fucking version. Do you realize how nice that would be if I could lock a human at a version? If I could lock a browser at a version, if I could require a browser version, if I could even require a fucking browser, if I could require the screen reader that you use. Here's the thing is when you do front end, I have 8 bosses to beat. You have one final boss. I have 8. I have to beat Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and screen readers on Android and iOS. I have to do Safari on iOS. I have to do all, these are all bosses. These are all consumers of the thing I wrote. They're all different. They're all subjectively different. They're all, and this is the thing, you write a backend service, you had one consumer. You have control over it. It's like super unfair in comparison when the front end is not only do I have multiple browsers and multiple screen readers, I have people consuming what I built. It's a visual, tangible thing that I built. And people are not machines. They have extremely unique needs that you have to meet. And unless you want to be a butthole, well, yeah, go ahead and be it, which is kind of what a lot of people choose to be a butthole. Anyway, what I'm saying is the front end has at least 8 final bosses and every other language has one. And it is all, okay, that's, take that with a grain of salt. That's the spicy part. Anyway, so like, this is why it's so hard, is it's not just a single consumer. It's human subjectivity combined with a matrix of runtimes. And that is so hard to deal with. I get it why everyone goes, oh, I don't like it. It's because it's super duper hard. Just quit making it sound like your job is somehow better than another job. This is just like building a house. Quit being a douche about it. Just do your role and be appreciative that someone else is doing that role. Because, and in fact, go give them kudos for doing the thing that you think sucks so bad. Like, don't crap on them. Make them feel good for it. That way they'll do it again. If you keep crapping on them, they're not going to come back and build you an accessible calendar widget. They're going to be like, deuces up, man. Here's my 2 middle fingers. I'm out.
They're like, actually, I'm transferring to the back-end team. I'm going to start challenging you for that next staff role, motherfucker.
Right? I'm going to bring in the newest MVC framework and make you look small, man.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Your Cold Fusion API sucks. I just made one in Rust that's so
spaghetti.
fast.
Yeah, spaghetti code. I'm going to write clean ass Rust, you know?
Yeah, I do think
anyway.
like backend, you know, kind of in the same vein, is very data heavy and logic heavy. There's, you know, roughly one right answer. Whereas like it's more like art on the front end. It's like, I don't fucking know. Like I got to support all these different vendors and whatever. And somebody decided Flexbox is different in this browser for whatever reason. Like we're in better times now where it's not as bad, but like it was really bad for a while. And it's like,
it was really bad for a while. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't had to fight IE6, you don't know what problems are. That's what I think. Anyway, I like that this show is mostly just hot takes. Let's just like shit on things the rest of the time.
I mean, is there any point to anything else?
I don't know. Are you left or right-handed? Those look like right-handed guitars, but maybe they're strung upside down and you're actually Jimi Hendrix.
Rad question. I am right-handed. Yeah, there. Here. Wait, I've been practicing banjo. Do you want to hear? Can I play for you real quick?
Sure.
You have a banjo? Nice. I love banjo, actually.
Are you going to do dueling banjos with Chris Coyer?
No. I like banjo. Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot. Coyer's got a banjo now, too.
Coyer is awesome. And banjo is somehow like the... I've been playing guitar and other instruments for like 20 years. It seemed the scariest one. I was like, there's no way I can learn this amazing instrument.
Yeah.
And then I got a banjo lele, and then I was like, I love this, but I want more twang. And then I got a banjo just a couple months ago. and I've been obsessed. It's so cool.
Jerry
Here's
Garcia
the
was
coolest
like
song I
a
can play.
studio banjo player before Grateful Dead.
Oh, the pressure's on though. Let's see if I can do this.
That's
Nice.
sick. I
So
love
are
it.
you picking each string individually? We can't see the bottom, so.
I'm doing claw hammer style, so I'm doing like your index finger is punching the string while the thumb does the drone note. So the
Okay.
little one is always hitting the drone. Oh shit. It's like a really interesting instrument because like the strings are kind of like an electric guitar, really thin, really easy to hammer on and pull off. But the right hand is all the magic, and so I got the claw. I'm plucking a main note with my index, brushing the strings, hitting the drone note, and combining it all with a bum diddly, like a. There we go. I'm getting a little bit more relaxed.
You need more wild turkey. It's turkey time. Sounds like home.
I've been
You know,
obsessed. The kids are so tired of it. They're like,
I'm from the bluegrass state, so it sounds like home.
Have you, I
Awesome.
forget what it was called, but like the special that Steve Martin and Martin Short did. Have you watched that?
Ooh, I know what you're talking about.
Well,
No, I haven't seen it
I
yet.
haven't.
No,
But
He
I
has-
was
he's
listening
a
to banjo
very
recently.
He has
Yeah,
some
he's,
kind
like,
of
good.
line where he's like, the banjo is like, how is it different than a guitar or whatever? It's like, well, a banjo is very technical and you do this and that and whatever, and a guitar will get you laid. It's like,
That's the most Steve Martin thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect. That's funny. Yeah, I love banjo. I love songs that integrate banjo into like one of my favorite bands is Travis. And they have
Ooh,
a couple
I'll
of
put
songs
them on my
with,
playlist here.
Oh, they influenced Coldplay. They were like early. So the song is called Sing and it has banjo in it, for example.
Have you played Outer Lands? Or is that what it's called? Outer Lands?
in
Outlands.
space? Is it in
Is that a
space?
game?
It's space,
What
but
is
it
it?
has banjo. It's like an astronaut that will play banjo. It's like got really cool music, exploration, space, but he's like, it's got a lot of banjo in the music.
I
Okay.
think I
No.
played Outer Lands. I don't remember banjo though.
Or I think it was Outlands. Oh shit, I don't know. Sound like an old person. Get
Yeah.
those Otis
Wait, is that a
Spunkenmeyer
game?
cookies.
Outer Lands is
It's a video game,
definitely
yeah.
not.
Okay. I play mostly one
Is
game,
it
right?
Outlands? No, what's the one game you play?
As
I don't
an
know.
avid
I'm
listener,
playing,
have you picked up on the
Starfield
one
right now.
game I mostly play.
No. Yeah, I'm confused.
Okay. Well, I am
How'd I miss
playing Tears of the Kingdom right now, so I'm kind of a liar, but mostly like 80% of my gaming is FIFA.
Dang. No, I missed
Yeah.
those episodes. You talked about FIFA.
Yeah, I'm like FIFA
Oh, I
obsessed.
know what it is.
Especially, I was really
FIFA's cool.
heartbroken when Stadia went away because that was like my
Yeah.
FIFA everywhere kind of thing, and I had to kind of figure it out. I did end up getting one of those Ali ROG, like it's basically upgraded Steam Deck, and that's been a better.
Nice. I like my Steam Deck. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so Asus released their version of it, slightly more powerful, a little bigger screen. So I was almost going to buy a Steam Deck, and then this was released, and I was like, okay, I'll try that one. So
Nice.
same, but different.
Yep.
So
I like games. Tears of the Kingdom, me and my kids beat it. It's awesome. We just totally played the whole game together. It's
That's
great
nice.
family bonding.
I haven't started
Yeah.
it yet, unfortunately.
My son is playing Breath of the Wild actually a bunch, and so I help him some there, and then he'll watch me play Tears of the Kingdom, and yeah.
Yeah, it was unfortunate timing because Diablo 4 came out and I had to play that.
Yeah. I wanted to get on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I played
Is that the
that.
one that
And now I'm
Elon's
playing
playing too?
the game that I was thinking about was called Outer Worlds. Is that the game you're talking about?
Oh shit, maybe, dude. Hold on.
Was it
Let's see.
recent or because this was like a couple years ago? I think.
No.
Then maybe not.
So you got an astronaut playing banjo on it?
No, I don't think so.
No, Outer Worlds is a different one. Hold on, let me see.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This sounds fun. I usually come out of hibernation on FIFA basically for like Zelda games and Star Wars games. I was very interested in that
Those are
Cyberpunk
good
game,
choices.
but I didn't.
You should check out Starfield. Do you know about Starfield, Chuck?
I don't know
I
about
do.
things.
So
I do, yeah, and I would love to play it, but yeah.
Starfield is by Bethesda, so it's like Skyrim in space.
I have a plan. I
Yeah.
have a plan. Let's build an awesome POC PWA, get that 6 mil, and then just like take a
Yes.
year
And just play games.
thinking about apps, but mostly playing games.
I like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
And then
The
we'll
game's
tell the
called Outer Wilds.
VCs.
I found the soundtrack.
hold on. And here, how do you feel about Italy? Because I have been following this Twitter account. It's called Travel Tirement, and he will post up a bunch of like very inexpensive European homes in Italy and France. I mean, you're talking about like some decent sized places for less than 200,000. So we can buy that. That's headquarters. Let's get one big enough. Maybe spend 300,000.
Yes.
Headquarters. Bring the
Yes.
families there because we're incubating. Takes a village. What I've learned in life, as long as that village isn't related to me, people are more apt to kind of jump in and figure it out. But we gotta, we'll PWA and then get to that.
Do they have internet there though? Because Italy is
they have
notoriously
internet.
bad
Actually, no.
at internet.
Well, they've worked on infrastructure for quite some time for a few different reasons. They had a bunch of those towns that were getting more and more like not quite abandoned, but like they were losing their newer generations to jobs in the big city and technology and stuff. So there's fiber in a bunch of places, and they have approved the digital nomad visas. They just don't have the process in place for applications and stuff. So like many other European places, they got the nomad visa. They've got the infrastructure there. So it's not bad. And in the north, it's less chaotic.
Yeah, in the north they have good internet.
Yeah.
In the south, they do
Lake Como. We can go get a spot by George,
Yeah.
hang out by the lake, be inspired.
We'll share his Starlink connection.
north.
That's right. Bring your banjo.
It's my retirement plan. It's just hammer on that thing. Okay, so the game was Outer Wilds.
Okay.
And
I
yeah,
don't
it's
know
got
if
a
I played that or
soundtrack
not.
with lots of banjo.
That's pretty cool.
So we're
We'll
kind of
look
running
that
out of time, but before we end, I do want to ask, if you weren't in tech, what other career would you choose?
Super easy answer. I'd be in the gaming industry. So just like we're talking about right now, y'all are dreaming the game industry. That's because that's what I dream too. In fact, I've got a business plan. I'll just share it right now so someone else can steal it because I'm probably never going to do it. Let's just be honest.
That's fair.
Is many people want to make games, and they do, and they sit down and they build them, and then they get them on Steam, and they totally didn't fucking do the UI, and you can tell that they don't like the UI, and that the UI is an afterthought because either the keyboard doesn't work or the controller doesn't work or some shit like that. So I'd like to start an agency that just builds your UI. We'll do the HUD, we'll do the start screen, we'll do the settings screen, we'll make sure you get all. It's almost like building a Bootstrap or like an ARIA kit for game builders, and that would also be the studio. So you could either hire us or you could kind of buy our kit, and after that maybe picks up some steam. We'll make our own games in the studio powered by.
I like this idea.
Yeah, I think
like
this
idea.
has
You
legs.
sure you can't raise on that?
Yeah.
I'd work
just
on
lazy,
that.
Man. I just want to build stuff. I don't want to go sell it and get VC money. I just want to build the UI. So yeah, hey, if you hear this and you think this is a great idea, I will sit down and I would build the world's best UI framework for either Unreal Engine or Unity. You tell me which one you want to target first. Give me a shitload of money and I will take all of my CSS skills. I'll build responsive typography because the pixel values that are showing up on some of my screens are absolutely ridiculous. They need to be responsive. You need to have some modern shit in there. You can tell they build UI in these games with like 15-year-old technology. Like all the work is going into the frames per second of the engine, not into the quality of the DevX of building the UI.
Well,
Yeah,
Microsoft
the
should
lead
be
up
listening,
sells you.
because Microsoft has bought every game company ever now, and also does a lot of dev stuff. So, if you're listening, give us big piles of money, and Adam will build you cool UIs.
Who was buying Activision? I forgot. Somebody
Microsoft,
bought, or is like
Activision Blizzard.
Microsoft, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Gnarly.
So they've got
Okay.
that, and that stacks the deck to where if anyone's like, "Oh, should we build in Mac support for this game?" Fuck no. Like they can be like,
Right. Yeah, for sure. Emulate that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck them. I've got a name. I've got to just name. I'm joining this agency, and it's called Graybeards.
Ooh,
Because I got some
Nice.
gray in my beard.
I definitely do.
Hey, yeah, Graybeards. And yeah, that'll let us age into some fantasy games that we want to make. Yeah, I'm down. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
There you go. Put it out there. I love it.
So before we end, is there anything you want to plug?
I mean, I plugged the Wild Turkey. That's one thing. So I've got a couple of podcasts, which is weird. I have 2 podcasts, which seems like totally exorbitant. Like you don't need that many. But one is with Google, and that's called the CSS Podcast. And I was very prepared. We sit down and we make outlines. Like that shit is totally. We break down the specs. It's really nice. 15-minute episodes or so, and you get. It's the computer science side of CSS. So if you don't think it's a programming language, listen to that for 5 minutes and you'll be like, oh shit, this is as deep or deeper than the way that JavaScript works. I just never paid attention because I'm not going to call you a name. But the other show is called the Bad at CSS Podcast, where it's like me and David East, we sit down and we talk about, all the shit that's really hard. And by us talking about what's hard, talking with guests about what's hard, other people will learn and hear and be, the humility is there, plus the education. And so we bring people on to, like Chris Coyer came on and he's like, I started writing down the list of all the things that I was bad at CSS and I didn't have enough paper. But it's actually kind of true because CSS is really hard.
It is.
It is.
Oh, that's my final hot take is AI will write good CSS last. Out of all of the programming languages and all of the things it's going to be able to bootstrap for you and edit and do good at, it's going to suck at CSS the longest. So I think that job actually oddly has the best job security in terms of AI.
That's my AI company. Just focuses on
just
getting
CSS.
better and better at CSS. Two
Damn
company.
you, Chuck!
Don't worry, I'll invite you out to the place in Como. George will come over with them all. Bring the kids. Having an espresso. I don't know if you've
not an
gone
espresso.
to Europe before.
No, it's
an
an espresso.
He's the spokesman for an espresso.
Yeah.
So. Anyway.
Gotcha.
All right. Cool. Thanks everyone for listening. If you liked it, please subscribe, leave us some ratings and reviews. We appreciate it, and we will catch you next time.